Let's start with your name. Where'd your name come from?
My name came from one night I was out in the studio. I was staying out on Evergreen Road in Louisville, Mississippi, and I was going by the name of Cecil, baby, and it wasn't attracted to my counterpart. So they're like, hey, you need to come up with a new name, and I got full of the oil and the liquor, and I had a jamming beat that was going on at the time, and I was like, Mr. Evergreen, Mr. Evergreen, but, I got a little swag into it, and I said, Mr. Evergreen. It's been history since.
Now, where are you from?
Louisville, Mississippi, 39339.
Now, for people not familiar with that part of Mississippi, what's the biggest city closest to that?
The biggest city closest to that, it would have to be Starkville, home of Mississippi State University, pretty much 25 to 30 miles north, and south of that, of course, be the state capital, Jackson, which is 88 miles,
All right, now what's your opinion of the state of rap music right now in the whole state of Mississippi?
We got a lot of artists down there grinding, it's an independent grind. You got artists, we go from club to club trying to promote our music. Doing shows here and there. It's pretty much an independent grind. We don't have too much to work with. Like, whereas out here in Atlanta, you got the strip clubs, you got the bars and grills. It's beneficial to the artists out here, but, down there it's a pretty much different scene. But, you got guys like Hollywood Luck in London, they're two of the premier artists down there, and they're doing very well at what they do, But it's pretty much an independent grind, If we had some of the assets in Mississippi, like they do out in Atlanta, it'll be better for all of us, but, it's an independent grind, and I just keep it real, and I keep it 1,000, the way I tell people, you really want to know if you hot or not, put it out there in the streets and let the streets decide,
Now, give me a tour of the city of Louisville for somebody that's never been there before. Let's start with the food. Favorite food spot in the city?
Food, man, you go to your grandma, you go to a couple of my auntie houses, my cousin houses, It's just a very small city, you got your original Wendy's, Sunday, McDonald's, but, hey, I was raised out there in the country, so, hey, when I was growing up, it wasn't none of that fast food, hey, we got a garden out there on the side of the house, peas, okra, butter beans, hey, that was our food, Going to get eggs out of the grocery store, them old folks didn't play that. And we had a chicken coop behind the house, and once the chicken hatch the egg, we go in there and we get the eggs, you got chicken shit all over the eggs, so you just get some water, you wash it over and put it in the refrigerator, you got some eggs, and believe it or not, chickens, man, we let them get a certain size, and we go out there, catch them by the feet, put a little fishing string around them, hang it on the clothes pin, and stick a knife in the neck, and the blood drip down, and burp, 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 burp. And sooner or later, that chicken dead, and you got a big black pot right there on fire. It's hot, boiling temperature hot. Better than what the electrical surfaces they have nowadays, and put the chicken in there, and the feathers come off, and you just sit there and scrape it out, man, and you're refrigerated for about 24 hours, and, hey, about 2 or 3 days, man, you got some good chicken, so. But, that was the old days right there. That was the way I was brought up, man, and just for me to be able to perform the way I do, pretty much blessed. I look at them old days and like, man, you know what? That's what made me a man,
Farming.
Farming, hey, straight country. Hey,
is that considered farming, or is that not considered farming?
I call it Southern hospitality, so, hey, I mean, that's real, like, hey, wasn't no Applebee's when I was growing up, or no Chili's or bars in there. Oh, what, speaking of bars, hey, them old heads back in the day, they weren't really big on bars. They go to the liquor store, man, and pile the cooler up, with beer and all that, and they go way out in the woods, man, to the local boom boom room or the sugar shack, man. They get loaded out there, and go home, have a good time. So, hey, it's country life for you, Yeah, I like it out here in Atlanta, but, hey, can't nothing ever take me away from the country.
Now, in your country town, the nightlife in today's time, is there a nightlife scene? Is there clubs? Is there strip clubs where you're at?
We got a club called the Exclusive Lounge, It's ran by my homeboy, my partner, E4, And that's the hottest club in North Mississippi, hands down. It ain't no competition, You done got guys like Trina done came out there, Young Dro, Webby, Bankroll Fresh, R.I.P. to Bankroll. Yeah, man, so superstars and came through there and big time artists and promoters, you know. So that's the hottest club in North Mississippi, the Exclusive Lounge. Follow them on Instagram at exclusive lounge underscore. At exclusive underscore lounge. EXKLUSIVE underscore lounge.
Now, we talked about the food, or lack thereof, and we talked about the nightlife. Any other spots you recommend someone first time stumbling upon Louisville to see, do, or visit, if any?
You can always go out to Dave's place, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you know, that's a little country spot on every Friday, you know. It's a one way in, one way out, but you know, they play a good little bit of rap music out there, you know, and they're more into the Southern soul out there, so they got some nice music out there, and you know, they got the local barbecue man selling barbecue, fish, and all this. So on a Friday night, that's a place to go, but on a Saturday, Exclusive Lounge, it ain't no competition. But you know, outside of Louisville, you know, you could go to Starkville, which is home of the Mississippi State Bulldog. You know, you could always go to Cowbells, you know, and it's a very nice place. And the casino, which is 25, 30 miles south of Louisville in Philadelphia, you know, the Silver Star and the Pearl River Resort, you know, it jumps. They got a little spot in there called the Starlight Lounge, and I done spent plenty nights in there, plenty money, man, and you can also go down there and have a good time, you know.
Most you ever won?
Be honest with you, I don't even gamble. I just go down there, drink and party and have fun, you know.
Now, what about the lingo? What are some terms or some phrases one might hear in the city of Louisville right about now?
What up, cuz? What it do, man? You know, they say like my homeboy Cindy B, man. That's who responsible for Mr. Evergreen, the rapper right now, Cindy B McQueen, man. Hey, man, he'll hit me up on the phone. What up, man? You know, or Martell Hathorn, man, big cuz, man. That my big brother for life, man, 10 toe down. Like, what up, cool? You know what I'm saying? What up, cuz? You know, lingo like that.
Now, are there any special events in Louisville that you recommend somebody come to specifically for? Like, for example, in New Orleans, Mardi Gras is like a week-long event out there.
Yeah, my cousin, man, every year he have an event on the east side of Louisville, deep off in the hood. It's called the East Side Reunion, you know what I'm saying? That was like, it ain't dedicated just to the people that been living on the east side. The whole town, they come about, you know, and get in Taylor Union Hall. They cook inside, people sit up tents outside, you know, and you have 18-wheeler flatbed trailer out there. Somebody, you know, local artists get up there and perform, or they'll bring artists down. You know, then you have the Red Hill Festival, you know, that's like right in the heart of Louisville, you know, right there in the courthouse and on the side streets where the banks and the local businesses are. You know, they do a lot of vending and, you know, a lot of stuff for the kids and all that. But, you know, in other words, like, if you from out of town and you coming down there and you looking, say like my cousin came from out of town, and she was like, yeah, my cousin finna take me to downtown Louisville to the bar. And I was looking at her like, what? You know, downtown, you know, everything closed at 5 o'clock in the evening, so. You know, where I'm from, man, we make it happen, you know. Like, we'll call one of the boys together and we'll pitch in about $5, $10 a piece, put some meat on the grill, you know, and go buy the beer and the alcohol and so forth, and we'll just do it right then and right there and have a good time, you know, go home safely.
Now let's take it back a little bit. What type of student were you in school?
In school, I did the grades. I had good grades, but, you know, I was more of an athlete, you know. I was a excellent football player, also a power lifter, you know, and I didn't get in too much trouble when I was in school, because, you know, if I got in trouble in school, I got to worry about when I get home, you know. So I got in a few instances at school, but, you know, when I got home, you know, when your mama tell you, hey, pull your pants down and get on your knees and bend over on the couch, and, you know, you got to switch, man. Or they'll tell you go out there and get your own switch. You get your own switch, and they tell you better not go get a little switch. And, man, you know, you already thinking about it, going out there to the tree, boom, 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 boom. Go get the switch and just start crying, man, because you know you finna get your ass whooped and all that stuff. So get in there, wah. Then think about it, why they whooping you and stuff, you know, butt, booty, neck, you know, why they whooping you and you gonna do it again? Nah, I ain't gonna do it again. Wah! You know, then they get done whooping your ass, man, they wanna rub some alcohol on there and that shit burn, man, you know. So last time I got a whooping by my mom, man, I was at school, and me and my other fellow counterpart artist, Trio Trap Star, we got caught drawing gang signs on the bathroom door. Okay, so the parents had to pay the money to get repainted. And old as I am now, I sit back like, yeah, man, you know, I got mad at my son for going to write on the bathroom walls, and I got to pay for it out of my pocket. That's an unnecessary expense. So, you know, basically, you know, my mother was, you know, working $6 to $7 hour jobs and whatever, and just getting it how she get it, man. R.I.P. to my mama, and she went up there and paid for it. It got painted, and I think they cut into her weekend money right there. You know what I'm saying? And either she paid for it to get redid, or I gonna get expelled for school. And I tell you what, when I got home, that was the last one I got in. I straightened up after that, you know, 'cause that year I got in trouble. I failed that grade, and I like, you know what, all the guys that I was getting in trouble with, you know, and so forth, and they went on to the next grade, and they laughing at me. I'm still a grade behind, so I straightened up after that. 'Cause I love football. I got kicked out the football team, you know, and I got my head on since, man.
Now, a switch, if somebody's not familiar with that term, is that like a tree branch or something?
The smallest branch on the tree, probably about the size of your finger. Well, not the size of about the, you know, the round length of your finger, but it's long, you know, so you got one in your hand, man, you know what time it is.
Now, with the athlete thing, you got kicked off on the football team. Was there any way you could have gotten or gone back, or maybe even gotten a scholarship? If not for that, maybe, you know, you said powerlifting and stuff before. Was there a possibility you could have gone to college with the scholarship in sports?
I could have had a scholarship. You know, I had a couple scholarships to go to a couple community colleges, man. But, you know, when I got out of high school, you know, in the house, man, you know, man, mama was struggling, you know, like putting food on the table for me and my brother and all that. And at the end of the day, you know, when I graduated, I would consider an adult, grown man, you know. So mama said, hey, I'm finna live my life. I done raised you to be a man, so it's time for you to boss up, you know what I'm saying? So basically, you know, I went from Walmart, trying to find jobs, and Mississippi, you know, it's just a state where the economy is so low. You know, the job opportunity to come up as an entrepreneur is just not there like it is out here in Atlanta or Chicago, New York, LA. So, man, I had to get my mind together, and I went to the military. I joined the United States Navy October the 7th, 2002, and, you know, they did a good mold on me.
Now, how long did you spend in the military for?
So I stayed in there 5.5 years, from October the 7th of 2002 to April the 7th of 2007, you know.
And why'd you stop?
Oh, man, I was young and dumb. You know, I was missing home. I barely getting to come home. Say, for instance, man, when I first joined the military, I went to boot camp, man, and I went to my first ship was an aircraft carrier called the USS Theodore Roosevelt. And, you know, we was out there. I had to meet the ship in Suda Bay, Greece, you know. So it took like a week for me to meet the ship or whatever. And, you know, we was out there. When I finally got to the ship, I had 2 days to spend on port, you know. And we was out there for like 5.5 months, you know. And I think around May the 21st or the 22nd, that was then President George W. Bush. He got on there, you know, declared war on Iraq. So on our way home, when he declared war on Iraq, we turned right back around, and man, we stayed out there about another 7.5 months, probably like a year and 2 months, you know. And you know, I missed a lot of family in that time, and it was just, you know, one thing about it, your freedom. That's the worst thing, in my opinion, that you could take for any man or any woman, your freedom. So, man, you know, I feel like my freedom was much more valuable than the benefits than them guys were giving me, you know. So, but I thank them for everything that they did for me, you know. But, you know, freedom was the key.
Now, you said you had scholarship offers to community college, but you chose the military route instead.
Yeah, I chose the military route
Why?
instead. Well, at the end of the day, you know, you go to college. College is a good cause. I don't knock anybody for going to college, you know, but my choice was to go to the military because at the end of the day, I had to help my family, you know. So, but in that process, military does offer, you know, classes where you could, you know, still excel in life or whatever. So, but you know, while I was in the military, you know, I got my CPR license or whatever, and you know, I went in as a damage controlman. In civilian term, it's a firefighter, you know, and due to the long, extensive working hours, you know, we used to work from like probably 7 o'clock in the morning to like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And I was like, man, I can't do this. You know, I'm barely getting to see my kid and the old lady at the time, man. And, you know, freedom, like I said, hey, when you're away from family, it does something to you mentally and emotionally. And I had transferred to the dispersing side of the military, which is like the banking and, you know, dealing with personal records and all that. And, you know, with that job right there, be there at 7 o'clock in the morning, about 10 o'clock in the morning. If you don't have duty, you could go home. Just be there at 7 o'clock the next morning, you know, in quarters at attention, you know. And your shoes better be shined and your shirt better be creased up.
Now, somebody watching this interview thinking about going to college or the military, what's your advice to them?
I tell them to follow their heart. I tell them, you know, get close to their mother and dad as possible, and, you know, they talk their decision over and see which one the best one for them. But there's nothing wrong going to college, you know, and there's nothing wrong going to the military. In the military, if you do 20 years in there, you're pretty much set for life, you know. But at the end of the day, that's a rough 20 years you're going through, you know, like. It ain't all easy, it ain't all gravy as people on the outside think it is, you know. So either or is a great decision. I'm not gonna sit here and dispute like this is better than that and that better than this, you know. But I'm pretty sure if I would have went to college, I'd been satisfied too. So, but I went to the military and I'm glad I did, you know.
Now, you mentioned jobs you had growing up was like Walmart. Were there any other jobs you did too, or was that it?
Well, I worked at the rental center, you know. That didn't last long, man. You know, you working, 12 plus hours in the state of Mississippi, getting paid $7 an hour to go repo furniture and move big stuff, you know. And, you know, every week you getting a $380, $400 check, you know. And I stayed 30 miles from the place in Philadelphia where I was working at. And, you know, it was hard to make ends meet, you know. The $400 you got right there, you got to take out a percentage for gas to travel back and forth. Then, you know, you got utilities at home to pay, and it was just rough. But then, you know, I had side jobs, you know, back to the country, you know. I used to haul hay, you know, and put hay on the trailer, and we'd go sell it to Taylor Tucker, one of the local lawyers in my hometown. You know, wash cars, mow yards, you know. It was all different ways type of hustle. And, you know, the worst thing I did to ever, you know, help me and my brother out and my mama, you know, we'll get some garbage bags, gas up the car, and we'll drive like 15, 20 miles in the countryside and pick up cans. Stomp them, put them in the garbage bag, and once you got the bag filled, you know, you take it to Jake's Recycling, and man, you get about $5, $10 is a blessing if you get, you know, so.
Any crazy stories dealing with any of those jobs you just mentioned?
Nah, it was just a lot of hard work, you know. I'll tell you one crazy story, man. It was a guy stayed directly from Mr. Charles Culpepper. I think he passed away by now, but, you know, he called me over there. He's like, hey, he want me to rake his yard. I raked the man's yard, man. You know, he didn't have no small yard. I raked the yard. And at the end of the day, he paid me $1. $1. So I went home. Mom was like, how much you pay? $1. You know, she want her cut too, because she, you know, she all in the mirror, you know, putting on the perfume, getting ready to go to the club. It's a Saturday, you know, so I wanted to give her some, you know. It was more, you know, no more than right. And she went over there and went ballistic off, you know, and I think he ended up giving some more money, but I didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? So $1.
How much were you expecting? Honestly,
I was a kid, man. Like $1 meant a whole lot to me. You take that dollar, you go to Bobby E's country store, which is right down the road. You go buy a honey bun for like 15 cents, man, and a pop. You could spend like 50 cents and you could have pop, chips, honey bun. You know, it meant a lot. But now that I'm older, what it taught me, like, you know, be your own boss, pay yourself, you know, whereas nowadays, you know, I have my own business, you know, so I'd rather pay myself But, before I let somebody else do it.
But back then you would have been satisfied with that dollar.
Man, $1, washing cars, hauling hay, man. I used to haul hay for Coach Ken McMillan. He was a high school coach then, and man, he'd get this little flatbed trailer out there, and man, big field full of hay, and get out there and put like 200 and about 500 square bales of hay on that trailer, man, and you got to do it a certain way so it won't fall off. And some days I got like $25, $30, and back then $25, $30, you were the man once you walked in school hall with $25, $30.
What's the worst thing you put your parents through?
The worst thing I put my parents through? When I went to the military and didn't tell nobody that I was gone. Yeah, my mother, she got, I don't know how she did it. One of the recruiting officers up there, came and got me out the barracks and like, hey, man, when last time you been home? I'm like, man, the day I caught the flight up here. Well, your mother said she hadn't saw you in like 2 to 3 months, and we made that call home, and I just told her, hey, Mama, I understand that, but I got to get out here. I got to get it, That one thing she always told me, ain't nothing free in this world. Go get you a job and go get it, So, when you're struggling, man, and you don't have no money, no transportation, it's hard. And one thing I learned in the process to go out there and go get it, whatever I want. In the trenches, man, your so-called friends, when you're in the hospital, in jail, you got no money, no car, and all this stuff, you find out who your real friends is, So.
What's your message to the youth?
The message to the youth, my message to the youth, man, stay in school, Ain't nothing wrong with going to school, and get your education. Obey your parents, because they the one that brought you in this world, man. There's a lot of opportunities out here in the world. Don't throw it away. And there's a lot of gun violence going on. Put the guns down, because at the end of the day, what you doing out there in the street, shoot them up, bang, bang. Once you get in jail, man, hey, that ain't no good feeling right there. So as you get older, you're going to realize, like, hey, I wish I could go turn back the hands of time and change what I did, so.
Let's talk music for a little bit. What do you hate the most about the music industry at this point? What's your biggest pet peeve with it?
My biggest pet peeve with music is artists being cheap and freeloading, Whereas me, myself, everybody in my circle, and everybody that supports me, they know that, I do a lot of advertising and marketing, and I don't mind, paying X amount of dollars on my craft. But, you got some guys, they record in the studio and they MP3 the song down and that's it. They don't go get it mixed and mastered, and all that. The image, some graphic designs I see, I'm like, man, come on, man. It seems like somebody got the cell phone and just drew up some kind of graphic on an app on the iPhone or the Android, so. Lately I've been doing a lot of knowledge into the business side of music, and marketing and advertising and the image, Whereas, when I hosted my mixtape with DJ Smallz, I don't know if DJ Smallz remember this or not, but hey, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I put out a little flyer, and he didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's trash, man, it's hurting my brand. I like, okay, I took it down, but I sat and thought about, you're right, the people gonna take you far as what you show them, man, how the way you move. Like, if you got a fire graphic, man, and your music decent, you just got you some fans or whatever, so. But, being cheap, and taking the easy way out and all this stuff, that irks me, because back in Mississippi, say I got a pretty good fan base down there. Say like with the radio, I got connection with all the radio personality down there, and they play my music. But you got some guy that come behind me with with music that's not up to par and all that. I'm like, man, you know what? You just making it hard for me and the other guys that putting in the work and far much more the effort, you know. So, but at the end of the day, I always salute the grind. I always salute the effort. But at the end of the day, it's more to music, just shooting videos and, you know, doing music. You know, the hard part lately, as I've been studying, is advertising and marketing, putting your product out there to the people, which costs money, you know. Say like with my last video, Mr. Evergreen 1145, go look that up on YouTube, you know. I started advertising this video last week for $10 per day, you know. And as a week later goes, I think I'm close to like 10K in views, you know, off of campaign and ads, you know. And I took another video on Mr. Evergreen, I'm the Shit remix featuring Big Mark and Hollywood Look. I spent $100 for like 30 days and, you know, I done reached over 25K in that, you know, about 500 some comments off of real people. So that stuff right there works, and that's really what got my attention nowadays. And you know, the production. Lately, I'm my own worst critic, and I'm stepping up my production game, you know. So whereas, you know, I plan on shopping beats from, say, like Isaac Flame. He produced a beat with T.I. and Young Thug, Out My Face, and Zay told me, you know, I'm gonna shop with them guys, you know. So I feel like this, you know, if any artist, you know, most artists, independent artists, you know, up and coming like myself, they look at the industry like, hey, we want to do what they got to do. They're cool, though, but you got to move like them guys do, because them guys ain't going to put out no bullshit, so.
Top 3 things you need in the studio.
No kids, no old lady, me by myself. That's it. I got to have my comfort zone.
Craziest studio story, if you have one.
Crazy studio story. Oh, you know what? I had this one artist came to the studio one time, and you know, this artist deliberately told me that she was better than any female artist that's out here. I ain't gonna put her name out there like that. But she came to the studio, it's time to record a song, and she gets a paper and start writing. Man, what is you doing? You know what I'm saying? You know, you supposed to come prepared, you know, at all times. So that was like one of the craziest studio stories ever right there. So, and I just told like next time just come prepared, you know. So.
What was crazy about it? She just wasn't prepared?
Well, for anybody to sit there and say that they better than any female industry artist, and you go to the studio, you don't have your craft together, man, you tell me what's so right about that. That's totally crazy.
Now, what's the realest song you ever wrote so far in your whole catalog of music?
It gotta be the 1145 record that I did for my mother, you know. Man, you know, that song right there, it took me about, I ain't gonna lie, I was so caught up in my feelings. It took me about a good month to get it down. So I was like, hey, this record, I think people need to hear, and it's a real story. And I wanted no profanity in it, you know, and I was able to accomplish that goal. So that's the realest song that I ever made, because, you know, one thing about it, ain't nothing worse than losing your mother, you know, and it's a lot of people that lost a lot of mothers. You know, say with my partner, Lil Boot, you know, he lost his mother. He another artist that I networked with, and, you know, he lost his mother before I did. And when I lost, you know, he was, you know, telling me about the pain and all that. But, you know, me, I'm thinking like I'm this big tough guy, you know, I could get through anything. I'm a man, you know, and all that. But, you know, I witnessed my mother death in person, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, hey, I'm talking about I cried a river, you know, so. And, you know, at the same time as me witnessing my mother death, man, you know, I also saw the fear of God right there, and it's no joke. Ain't nothing like it.
Now, how did she pass away, if you don't mind me asking?
Kidney failure. You know, she passed away of kidney failure. You know, she was on dialysis where she go like 3 times a week, you know, get stuck in the arm, you know. I guess it take all the fluids out, clean all the blood and all. And, you know, when you doing that, you gotta eat right. You just gotta do everything right, man. And you know, I got that call. Like, hey, I was way in Boston, Massachusetts at the time, and I got a call saying, hey, you need to get to the hospital. You know, they need you here. I'm like, what's going on? And they were like, hey, your mother's in a serious condition. And I'm like, where's she at? She's way in Brownsville, Texas. So think about it. I'm way at the top of the East Coast. I got to get down to the bottom of the south of the map. And I did it, you know. I left out Monday, then I got down there like Saturday morning. And, you know, I was walking through ICU and, you know, I heard her, you know, she like, where's my baby at? And I just popped up in the room, you know, and she just told me, like, hey, I just want to see you one last time. And she like, like, it's serious this time, you know. And she showed me her fingers, and her fingers were like black, you know, black and soft, like they were deteriorating, man. I thought she was just sitting there high on medication. But I had a one-on-one talk with the doctor, you know, and he like, ain't nothing else he could do, because she been on the machine for about 2.5 to 3 weeks. And they're like, she just immune to the machine, and either the machine was gonna do the job, or we could like call hospice in and let her go out in peace, you know. And I took it hard right there. I went outside, man, and I talked to my auntie and my uncle, man, and they're like, hey, man, you know, hey, when hospice get involved, that's a serious thing. And like 802, you know, the plugs was unplugged and all that. And, you know, she was sitting there, no, I'm sitting right here, and she up in the bed, you know, she kicking and talking about, you know, she talking real good, talking about, hey, you know, we're talking about life and all that, and man, about an hour and a half later, you know, it started kicking in, you know, she was shaking, struggling to breathe and all that, and I was just sitting there watching, like, wow. Like, it was a hurtful feeling for like, from 8 o'clock to 11:45, that's 3 hours and 45 minutes, man. And then you see the machine, you know, the little green thing, you know, going up and down, then all of a sudden the little up and down arrow gets small, and the line went straight, and it beeped, and, you know, the nurse came there, and they said she passed away at 11:45, and at the same time, like, hey, you know, I realized, like, hey, she not suffering and in pain no more. She going out to a better place, so, you know, ain't no worse a feeling than losing your mother. That's why I tell you asked me about the kids, man, you know, obey your parents, man, you know what I'm saying, because they brought you in, man, and once they gone, you'll never, ever have another mother, never.
Now, why'd you choose to watch it?
Man.
Did you have an option not to see it? Do people recommend people not to see it, or how does that work?
And you know what? I want to spend every minute, second, hour with my mother, you know, so I said, I'm going to sit here and watch it, you know, and I sat down. I was with her throughout the whole process, so, you know, that's your mother, you know, and, man, when somebody say your mother don't have long to make it, you're going to want to spend every moment and cherish that moment right there, because ain't nothing like losing her, so that's like with any loved one, you know, you want to spend every moment with them till it's all over with, you know, because they ain't never coming back.
Now, risk versus reward. What's the biggest risk you took for your music career so far?
The biggest risk? The biggest risk I took, let me tell you about this biggest risk I took, man. He had this one, I learned a valuable lesson. You know, he had this one individual, you know, they was on Facebook saying, hey, they got verses from Rick Ross, 2 Chainz, and Yo Gotti, you know, and you know, I called that individual, you know, like, hey, man, what's up with the verses? And they're like, yeah, all the verses they got was Yo Gotti, you know. And I'm like, all right, what it gonna take? You know, the price was told, and I made that price happen, you know, like within 30 minutes, you know. And within that 30 minutes, you know, the next day I got the Yo Gotti verse, you know. And I first saw this, I'm like, man, I got a Yo Gotti verse, you know, I got a Yo Gotti verse. You know what I'm saying? I told that individual at the time, I like, hey, when I buy this verse or whatever, I want to shoot a video. Can you make it happen? Can you orchestrate what I'm trying to do? Cool, they can make it happen, you know what I'm saying? And once I got a budget together, you know, I was like, hey, I'm ready to make it happen, you know. You gonna go on, you gonna have to call the manager, man, he on tour right now. I'm like, you told me you can make this happen, you know. So I like, man, that's a red flag. So I ended up getting on Facebook, man, one Friday night and inboxing B Mills, his manager and so forth. And I inboxed him like, hey, man, you know, I purchased a verse or whatever from this individual, and I was trying to see, you know, what precautions or, you know, rules I need to go by, you know, to make it legal and all that. And he never heard of the individual I bought the verse from. Like, he never heard of the individual. I'm like, no. And basically that person that has that Yo Got It verse, he said, you know, it was something old or whatever, you know, and that individual don't have the rights, you know, a publishing clearinghouse to sell any art, you know, like that. So basically I went back to the individual, like, hey, I can't use this, you know what I'm saying? Man, what you mean you can't use it? I spoke to the manager, you know, I screenshot it and sent it to the individual, and at the end of the day, I learned my lesson right there. Like, I spent a boatload of money, you know, on a verse that legally I couldn't use, you know, and basically, you know, what I tell any artist, man, be careful who you spend your money with, because you got some people out there that are political hustlers, you know. Them guys will say or tell you anything and everything to get your money with no intentions to elevate you to the next pedestal. So I learned a valuable lesson right there, you know, and basically if a person ain't got no juice, ain't got no following, ain't no paperwork behind it or whatever, it's false, you know what I'm saying? So that was my biggest risk I did right there.
What are your keys to success?
Staying prayed up, going twice as hard as I did before. Like, anything that I do, like, I did good right here, but I'm see, can I do better? And, you know, I'm extra motivated off of other individuals' success. Say, like this morning, one of my player partners, Cindy B. McQueen, he dropped a nice video called Streets Hard. Go check it out on YouTube, you know. And I saw the video, like, man, I like that, you know, that's some real music, you know what I'm saying? He telling stories, you know, and all that. So that made me want to go back, you know, and tell me a story, you know, if not similar or something that I'm going through that the next 100 people can relate to. So, you know, if I see anybody doing good, I'm not no hater, you know. Hey, I congratulate, you know, and, you know, if any way I could help the next person, hey, I pass the information down, you know. I ain't trying to keep all the information to myself. I ain't all about self. Anybody know me, man, I give you a shirt off my back, man, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you call me, I'm gonna answer the phone, man, you know, you ain't gotta call my partner, my homeboy, or the manager deal and all that stuff, man. Ain't none of that. You deal with me, you deal with me. I'm like DJ Smallz, man, ain't no middle man.
So what you got going on right now?
Right now, I'm currently working on my new project album. It's called Country Rap Tunes, you know. And I got an event going on in Mississippi, Columbus, Mississippi, the second annual North Mississippi Music Awards. It's gonna be at the Trotter Convention Center, you know, and it's partnering in with the local news station WCBI 106.1 and 92.1. So I got Country Rap Tunes, the North Mississippi Music Award. Other than that, follow your boy to keep up with the latest details and updates on Instagram at Mr. Evergreen, on Twitter at Mr. Evergreen CTE, man.